Hey y'all, my name is Chris Sanders and I'm your instructor for the Practical Packet Analysis course. I want to take this opportunity to welcome you to the course. I'm really excited to get started teaching you about packet analysis. Now, for me, my history with packet analysis started quite some time ago, back when Wireshark was actually called Ethereal. I was troubleshooting an issue that I'd spent weeks on trying to figure out why an application wouldn't connect and download data from a server as it should. After a few weeks, I found Ethereal and downloaded it, learned how to capture the packets, and read a little bit about protocols, and was able to solve the problem I was dealing with really in just a matter of a few minutes. So that was my first introduction to packet analysis, and when I really learned that no matter what an application tells you or what a user tells you, the packets, they generally don't lie. So that started me down the path that led me to where I am today. I learned a little bit more about packet analysis and started writing a blog series called Packet School 101 about the things I was learning as I was learning them. And eventually that led to the book named Practical Packet Analysis. It's the book that this course was named after. So I wrote that book about 10 years ago, and since then it's been translated to several different languages. It sold tens of thousands of copies, and it just recently released its third edition in 2017. Now, many of you may have found this course through the book, and if so, that's great. If not, that's fine too. The book kind of serves as a textbook for this course. We cover a lot of the same material. Of course, the book's a little bit limited. I can only speak in such verbosity with the book, and things change. So the book is in print. It's fairly static. This course will continually be updated as Wireshark is updated or as new tools come out and new analysis techniques make themselves apparent. So that's a real distinct benefit of the course. So with that said, I want to tell you a little bit about the course, what you can expect, how I've broken up the different modules, and what you're going to learn throughout your journey through the world of packet analysis. The first thing you'll experience in this course is the learning platform, and of course you use this platform to get to the video you're watching now. I chose this platform because it provides the ability to create a discrete path you must walk through in order to complete the course. When the course begins, you'll have access to all the material and can certainly jump around if you so desire, but ultimately the course was designed to be completed in a very specific order, which is facilitated by the path that's presented to you. You'll start with the introduction, which is where you found this video, and from there you'll proceed through each section. Now, this course is designed a little bit similarly to a college course. Each section you will encounter will have a certain number of tasks you should complete. Some are required for successful completion of the course, and others are optional. So let's walk through the structure of the course now. This course is broken up into 4 main sections, and each section contains modules that have lectures, demonstrations, quizzes, and labs. The first section is called Foundations, and it's really designed to get you all the baseline networking knowledge you need to understand packet analysis, even if you've never done any detailed network administration before. So we're going to talk about things like networking protocols and the OSI model and how that relates to how protocols can communicate to each other, things like encapsulation, decapsulation, and so on. So this is the baseline fundamental knowledge to get you up to speed, what you need to know about networking in order to be successful in this course. In part B, we're going to focus on tools, and this is where we're really going to spend a lot of time diving into Wireshark. We're going to go through all the different features it provides, the different analysis features, and so on. We'll also talk about packet filtering, and we'll talk about some command line packet analysis tools like tshark and TCP dump. This is where you're going to get all of the analysis skills that you'll use later on in the course and in the labs. In part C, we're going to dive into protocols, and this section is really predicated on understanding what normal communication looks like so that you can understand when you encounter abnormal communication. So we're going to go through all the common protocols through the lower layers of the TCP IP stack all the way up into the application layer. So we're going to talk about TCP and UDP, IPv4, IPv6, application layer protocols like HTTP, SMTP and DNS, and many, many more. So each protocol here will have its own section, and we'll go through examples of those. I'll show you the actual packets. We'll break those apart, and there'll be some lab exercises for you to test your knowledge as well. Finally, in part D, we're going to dedicate that last part to practical scenarios and labs. So we have a few different sections here. One is focused on general troubleshooting. Another is focused on troubleshooting high latency and slow systems and slow networks. And another is focused on security-related scenarios. Now, of course, even if you're not in security, I think those are very valuable to you. Just even if you're not in network administrations or systems administration, the general troubleshooting exercises are very valuable just to practice your packet analysis skills and be able to enhance those as well. Now, depending on your experience level, you may want to skip around a bit. For example, if you are familiar with networking concepts and have some packet analysis experience, you may want to skip Part A completely and focus on the rest. In Part C, I cover a lot of protocols from the packet level, and if you have experience with some of those in depth, you may want to skip those sections. Maybe if you're really up to speed on IPv4, maybe you don't need to watch that, but maybe you do want to watch the IPv6 section. So you may want to skip around a little bit there. Now, regardless of any of that, I do recommend you definitely take part in Part D and go through those labs and scenarios there, because that's really the best opportunity to practice your skills and iterate through PCAPs and scenarios that I'll give you, and then take little quizzes to test what you've learned, as well as watch videos of me performing the same analysis to see how I perform packet analysis. Of course, the beauty of packet analysis is everyone does it a little bit differently, and that's okay. You may not do it the same way I do, and that's just fine, but I think maybe you'll learn something from the way I do it, especially if you've never used many of the tools and techniques that will be discussed here. As far as the individual components of the course go, what you're going to be spending most of your time doing is watching lectures. This course is built around lectures and demonstrations. So me showing you things, talking about concepts, and showing you packets. I will spend a lot of time, not just in PowerPoint, but definitely looking at packets and messing around with packet captures to really reinforce the concept. Now, each module has several lectures you should watch. These range from about 10 to 20 minutes and are kind of broken up in chunks to facilitate optimal use of your time. So I really put a lot of effort into breaking things up into appropriately sized chunks so you're not presented with a 3-hour-long video that you have to wade through. Now, these primary lectures are going to contain a lot of the core components of the course's knowledge base and will mostly be my voice talking over PowerPoint like it is now, or over the live demonstrations that I mentioned. The course also heavily relies upon labs so you can practice your skills. That's one of the beauties of the course, is I can hand you a packet capture and you can analyze that on your own and see what you can find and then compare it to what I found or what else is actually there. So there's an example of one of those on the screen here, but generally the labs will take a pretty prescribed format. I'll present the exercise to you where I say, here is the scenario and here's your PCAP file. Then I will give you a quiz that you can go through to test your skills and test what you've learned. So this isn't an evaluation thing. I don't review those scores. It's really more for you to make sure you're digging deep enough and finding what you need to find in that packet capture. And it also helps kind of guide you along a little bit if you get stuck. Finally, there will generally be a solution, which will be another video of me doing the analysis on the PCAP that I provided you. So you can watch me do that exercise and see how I did it and compare that to how you did the exercise. Another component of this course are the quizzes, and I mentioned those briefly. Some modules will contain those quizzes. They may be to reinforce knowledge from a particular concept, but in most cases, those will be paired with the lab exercises. You may see those independently elsewhere. I believe we have one on filtering and so on, so you'll get a chance to play around with that too, so you can apply your knowledge a little bit better. Again, less about assessment. I don't review those scores. You don't have to get a certain score to pass the course. It's more about a strategy for reinforcing the content of the course. Another benefit of this course and this collaborative learning environment is that you're joining a community of people who have interest in the same thing you do as well. So you can ask questions of your peers in the discussion area, or ask questions about the concepts presented in the lecture. So you are free to do that. The community tab provides you the ability to do that. And also below every video, there's an option where you can post a question, and that is made available to everyone. I get notified of those, and I always try to make sure I respond to those as quickly as possible, but anyone can come in there and chip in, which is really one of the beauties of the course. Now, participation in the discussion area is completely optional, but I do recommend it, and I would strongly suggest that you consider going there after watching this video and introducing yourself to the rest of the course, and maybe you'll build some good connections that way. Finally, support. If you run into any trouble whatsoever, you find a content issue with the course, maybe there's something that was presented unclearly, or maybe there's some errata you need to report, you're having trouble accessing certain material, it's not working, there's any type of issue you have, your resource for support is very simple. It's just emailing me, chris@appliednetworkdefense.com. That will go straight to me, and I will respond as quickly as I can. Of course, you can also, as I said, ask questions directly in the course learning system. You can ask those immediately under every activity, especially under the videos. That's more for discussion type things, less about support. But if you have individual support needs, I'm your go-to resource, and that's chris@appliednetworkdefense.com. So this is the last time you'll be seeing me. Instead, you'll be hearing a lot of my voice over some slides and a lot of demonstrations and various lab exercises as discussed. I hope you're really excited to get going, and without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the world of packet analysis.